Now, as they got older, I stopped scaring them, they stopped scaring me, but eventually my daughters and I figured out that scaring dogs is a fun thing to do as well. And one of our favorite dogs to scare is my little dog, Rhodey. Rhodey is a 5-pound miniature pinscher. And it's great scaring little dogs because it can't do anything to you. You know those candy bowls at Halloween that have the hand? Don't get ahead of me here. That have the little rubber hand that sticks up when you reach in to get the candy, it goes like this. First couple of times, like, oh, that's really funny. That is not a candy bowl, that is a dog bowl. Oh, yeah. So I thought this up, and the girls were at the house, and I'm like, girls, watch this. This is genius. They're like, what are you doing now, Dad? I'm just watching. This is great. I took the candy bowl. I poured out the candy. I put a piece of hamburger in the bottom of the bowl right in front of the hand. I put the bowl on the ground. Rhodey's come running in. They're like, Dad, Dad, oh my gosh, this is hilarious. I'm like, shut up, here she comes. Rhodey comes running in. She's like, oh, look, there's a hamburger in the bowl. She puts her head in the bowl, back of the head. Rhodey's looking around like, what the hell? Who hit me? I'm just trying to get the hamburger. The girls are like, blah! Rhodey goes back. Then she figures out it's a stupid bowl. She's pissed at the bowl now, but she wants to get the damn hamburger. 10 minutes later, she's still trying to get the frickin' hamburger. Unfortunately, dogs learn. To this day, Rhodey will not eat or drink out of a bowl that she's never met. Until she does her little army crawl. She'll be like this. It's sad, I know, but I let Rhodey get back at people after that happened to her. This past Halloween, I got a shark outfit for Rhodey. We were shooting a television show. I had a dressing room. Outside the dressing room was the hallway where everyone would walk, and you could hear him coming around the corner. And I would go, Rhodey, sick him. She'd run around the hallway, come back in. People were like, oh, that's really cute. I took the shark outfit. I put it on Rhodey, tiny little shark outfit. The great thing about this was when the shark outfit was on the dog, you couldn't see the dog. All you could see was this misshapen shark kind of reptilian looking thing. It was an odd color, a weird shape. It had a fin right here, 2 fins out the back, a thing in the tail, and teeth and eyes. It was fantastic. Now, when you're frightened, your emotions of being frightened take over, but then your cognitive brain recognizes really quickly what it is that's frightening you, and you calm down immediately. It's like, oh, okay, that's really funny. When something comes around the corner at you that your brain can't recognize, especially when it looks like some sort of odd reptilian prehistoric thing, your lizard primordial brain kicks in. And I mean 300-pound tough working guys would come walking around the corner. She'd come running on the corner like this, not making any noise, just, and they'd be like, what the fuck is that? I had pee stains on the carpet outside my dressing room. All right, you like the dog stories? I got one more. I adopted a dog a few months ago. And this was a surrender dog. Some family just given up on him and give him to the shelter. We didn't know why it was. We named him Buddy, and he's a Jack Russell Terrier. It took us about a half a day to figure out why some other family gave up on Buddy. Buddy's an idiot. He's like, bark, 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 run, 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 bark, 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 bark. This dog would not stop barking. He's nuts. He was a sweet dog, but he's freaking nuts. So we went to the dog trainer. We said, what do we do? The dog trainer said, I have 2 ways of taking care of a barking dog. I have to teach, work with the dog. I'm like, fantastic, what do you do? She goes, well, one is a spray bottle with water. I go, I know, we've done that. She goes, no, not just water. She goes, don't want to do just water to a Jack Russell Terrier because they eventually like the water and think it's just a new way of getting a drink. She said, you got to mix about 40% of Listerine with the water. I'm like, oh, that's awful. She goes, no, it doesn't really hurt them. It just gets their attention, bothers them. Then they realize when they're barking, you spray them and say no, they eventually learn not to bark. I'm like, okay, Listerine in the water, got it. She said, the other way, I have this electronic collar, and it's not a mean thing. It's not a shocking collar. She goes, it's a new thing. It's an electronic thing. When the dog barks, it puffs out this puff of citronella right in their face. So eventually they learn, they learn not to bark. I'm like, okay, send us the collar. Fantastic, we'll try that. Okay, great. So we put the collar on Buddy. I got the spray bottle ready. Everything was great. Buddy would bark, spray him in the face, like, okay, fine, I'm not gonna do that. Like that, he'd learn, okay, don't like it. One day, Buddy was having a really bad day. It was raining outside. He wouldn't stop barking. Anything that moved in the backyard, he would bark at. I'm spraying with the bottle. I'm trying to get stuff done. He's barking. He's bugging the heck out of me. I'm spraying him. He's barking. By the end of the day, this poor dog smelled like he was from the dentist's office. His hair was completely matted. His eyes were bloodshot. He looked like Nick Nolte's mugshot. That's what he looked like. And then the really sad part was he barked so much that day, the battery on the collar had worn down, and now the timing was completely off. But by the end of the day, he had learned. He's a smart dog. And I swear to God, by the end of the day, this is what he was doing. And then, when the sun came out, he was eventually running around the backyard again. He didn't care about the collar anymore. He didn't care about the Listerine, and we could not catch this dog. He'd be running around chasing squirrels, and we have an 8-foot fence that's about 5 inches wide, goes all the way around the yard, and the squirrels just run around the top of the fence and bug the heck out of the dog, and you can't catch him. Run, bark, 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 bark. But my fiance, her name is Audrey, she came up with something that was a brilliant idea. She would go out in the backyard when Buddy was barking and chasing the squirrel, and she'd stand right next to the fence and look up like she's trying to find the squirrel too. Buddy's smart. He would run up to her and go, "Oh, you're trying to help me. Where's the squirrel?" She'd reach down and go, "You idiot, I got you. You're done. All right." Right? Now, I'm watching this thinking, the dog's smart. He's gonna learn after about 4 or 5 times that, no, this is stupid. I can't run next to her. She's just trying to catch me. I thought, I'll get in on the act a little more. I did the same thing, but when I picked him up, I thought, I'm gonna be part of the team. I would actually pick him up and hold him up, and I can pick him up just high enough that he could take his little paws on the edge of the fence, and he'd pull himself up like this, honest to God, and he could look up and down the fence like this, looking for the squirrel. And then he'd look over and look in the other yard. Okay, no squirrel. And then I'd slowly lower him back down. And then we'd walk down to the edge of the fence like we're still a few feet down. I'd pick him up. He'd do it again. Look. Eventually thought I was part of the team. Fantastic. It worked. 3 days later, I'm sitting on the couch. I look over at Audrey and I go, you know, that thing picking him up like that, that's working pretty well. She goes, yeah, working great. I go, wonder what that looks like from the other side of the fence. Sure enough, honest to God, a couple days later, get a phone call. Hi, Jeff, this is Bob from next door. Hey, Bob, what's going on? I don't know how to say this, but my wife says that your dog is spying on her in the backyard. I'm like, what are you talking about, Bob? He goes, well, I didn't believe her, but yesterday I'm out in the backyard watering the lawn, and sure enough, son of a bitch, your dog is peering over the fence. I don't know how he does it, but then he lowered himself back down. I go, yeah, Bob. He goes, no, really? And then about 30 seconds later, he's 10 feet down the fence looking at me again. And then he lowered himself back down. I'm like, okay, Bob, I'll have a talk with Buddy. And he goes, no, it's worse. I go, what's worse, Bob? He goes, well, I think your dog's trying to kill us, but he's not good at it yet. I said, Bob, what are you talking about? He goes, well, a few hours later, he's looking at me again, but then he barked, turned his head sideways, winced, and an explosion went off.